Hey, welcome back to Binge Watch with your host, me, Tanisha. We have our weekend picks, and I figured what better place to broadcast weekend picks than from my bed. When I'm in bed, I like to watch it on my Surface Pro. That way I can just touch and get back to things. Right now, I am watching, I started it over. I'm watching Rim of the World.
You guys are from the camp, right?
Which is actually one of my picks. And we'll get to that in a second, okay? It's now streaming on Netflix. And I'll get to that in 1 second. Weekend picks. I like to go in order. First, let's do some recapping on last weekend's picks. We talked about Game of Thrones. I also gave a farewell Game of Thrones video, which you can find on my YouTube right now if you want to go peep. I'm not going to talk about it. It's over. It's done. I don't even want to discuss it anymore. That's that. We're done. The Shy. Ooh, a lot has happened since I said that should be your binge watch pick last week. As I said last week, it will be coming on Sunday, the 26th. It took a break last week. Lena Waithe, as you know, probably took a break because Lena Waithe was on Jimmy Kimmel. She was at Sweet Heat Miami. So she was just like living it up for her birthday. So I'm pretty sure that's why they took a break. But also probably to figure out what to do with Jason Mitchell. So he plays Brandon on The Shy, the gentleman who has the food truck. This is going to be really awkward to watch. Simply because Jason Mitchell has been fired from the show for sexual misconduct on set. Specifically from his on-screen girlfriend. Tiffany Boone is her name, her real name. And so apparently, things on set got so uncomfortable for her that she would have to ask her fiance to come on set. I don't want to not support Lena Waithe and The Shy and the rest of the cast because I think they do a really good job. But I will say it's going to be really awkward for me to watch any scenes where they have to interact with each other, knowing that this woman was extremely uncomfortable on set. That makes me feel away. So that's what's going on with The Shy right now. If you want to tune in. If you haven't, whatever. I am anxious to see how they're going to write his character off. And if they keep in line with the story, I think that he may end up in prison somewhere at some time. So that's all I got to say about that. Like, if you know better, which you should know better at this point, you need to do better. And people that can't just go to work and be professional, we know what's wrong with you. But that should just, bottom line, go to work and be professional. Go to work and be professional. All right, but that's not what we hear about. We here to talk about what to watch. My binge watch pick of the week, very easy. She's Gotta Have It. Season 2 has premiered. It premiered yesterday. I watched about 2 episodes. I'm going to take my time with this just because I love this show. And I went into the show hole when I finished it last November. It came out last November, right? November 2018. Am I right? Or was it November 2017? I can't remember. But when it came out, I watched it literally Thanksgiving Day. And then I watched it one more day and then I was done. And so I was like, oh, I'm in the show hole until it comes back. So I'm not about to rush anything. But I'm really excited to have Mr. Wanda Wise back on TV. That's our favorite Nola Darling. The season opens with a very hot and steamy scene with her current lover, Opal. So if you watched the last season, you saw that it ended with Opal at her door. So that was her chosen lover. Side note, I really love how they still keep Nola's loving bed partners a part of the story, which I was concerned about. I'm like, are we just going to drop all of them now that she's committed to Opal? But as we see, she doesn't do that. The scene, like I said, the series opens with a very hot and steamy scene with Opal, letting us know that they're in a very loving and giddy relationship. This is the second time around, so this time they're hoping to get it right. They kind of triggered to what may be an issue with them when they're out with friends, and one of the friends are like, how does Skylar, which is Opal's daughter, how does Skylar feel about you all having PDA in public? And before Opal gets a chance to answer, Nola answers, oh, she loves it. And Opal responds with our daughter? You know, kind of like, that's not your kid. As the episode goes on, because, you know, these are like hour-long episodes, so they pack a lot of information into 1 hour. But as the episode goes along, you start to see that Opal's uncomfortable with the type of relationship that Skylar and Nola has. And I thought it was very interesting that for Opal to be, you know, a homosexual woman, she's not okay with two mommies. I loved that perspective, which, you know, opened up a line of questions for me. So you start to see that relationship, what's the word that I'm looking for? The conflict in that relationship will have to do with raising Skylar. Then we see Mars. Last year, or whenever the show came out, Mars was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Just monotone. I like this year because they've given him a little bit more dimension. They started the episode with him losing his job, getting kicked out of Lulu's house, and having to grow up. In the process of him growing up, he goes back to his passion, which is music. And come to find out, that's how him and Clorinda, Nola's best friend, first met. So if you remember in the first season, Clorinda hated Mars. We didn't know why she hated Mars until we find out later on in the season that they actually were together first, and then Mars left Clorinda to be with Nola. Okay, so it's really interesting that they are bringing these two characters back together over music, which is how they first found each other anyway. All right, so then we have Jamie Overstreet, which at first I was kind of like, this is a stretch with Jamie. I thought he was going to go home and try to get his home in order. But his scene opens with him getting a divorce, actually. They're in the middle of finalizing a divorce. And this is actually turning out to be a really good storyline. I don't want to spoil what's going to happen, but just know that now that Jamie is done with Nola, he wants to try to reconcile with his wife. And his wife, she's kind of not really with it. So this is actually a really good storyline. Greer, he was in and out, still being Greer. So I don't really have much information for him. But I'm really, really excited to see where this story goes. I don't want to spoil what happens between Opal and Nola, because I feel like this will set the foundation for the rest of this season, because by episode 2, you find some sort of resolution to what's going on with that relationship. And so I'm on episode 2. Keep watching. All right. Next on my list is my movie pick. My movie pick is Rim of the World. I just started watching it. One of the reasons I love it is because of the diverse cast. We have an Asian girl, a black boy, a white boy with red hair and freckles, looking like little Chucky from Rugrats, and we have the quiet, dark, handsome white boy, or he could be Italian or something, something like that, like the olive skin. I love the diversity of the cast. I love that the affluent child in the group is the black boy, and his affluence comes from his father, who's looks like he could be a rapper. I really like that, to show that spin, that affluence doesn't come in one way, one cookie cutter way, like Ivy League, prep school, Jack and Jill, that it can be affluence in other ways. Overindulgence of money, I guess you could say. Rich money, hood money, as you could say. So this is what I'm gathering, and like I said, I just started watching it. I'm not that far in, but the reason I pick it is because the cinematography is really, really good, and I like how they are developing the characters in this movie. And so Rim of the World is my movie pick, giving me Independence Day meets The Goonies. I'm liking it. All right, and they're at summer camp, and so hell breaks loose while they're at summer camp, like it always does. That's my movie pick. And I also have another movie pick that actually happens to be my top pick. The Perfection. Y'all, I was up at 5:30 watching The Perfection. This is an amazing story. An amazing, I have some people talking in the background. Ignore that. This is an amazing story. The twist, it's about 3 unexpected twists. And I'm not even going to begin I don't even want to tell you. I don't want to spoil it for you. Just watch it. If you don't watch anything else I told you to watch on this weekend pick episode, please watch The Perfection. Okay, we have Allison Williams and Logan Browning as our protagonists. Allison Williams, you may remember her from Girls or Get Out. Okay, Logan Browning, she used to be on, was it House of Pain or Meet the Browns? One of those two Tyler Perry shows. And she was also Yelena on Hit the Floor. And so I really like her. Dynamic acting. This is all about a music academy that molds and shapes young cellists, specifically young girls. And I don't want to tell you anything else. It is just a really, really, really good movie. It's a large psychological thriller. Okay. I think that may be it for my picks. Top pick, The Perfectionist. The Perfection, not The Perfectionist. Sorry. The Perfection, The Perfection, The Perfection. Watch it. Get back to me. Let me know what you think. All right. That's it for our weekend picks. I'm going to hop back in the bed, finish watching Rim of the World on my Surface Pro. This is not advertising. All right, everybody.